All right. Last one of these I did was about. I basically fallen down this whole rabbit hole about UFO Watchdog and MJ12 and so on and so forth. And I mentioned in that one I wanted to do one of these on alien writing, the like weird symbols that are allegedly seen on craft. Something that comes up much because there's a whole thing of like aliens communicating telepathically and like being fragmented, and it has these weird symbols on it and about some coming catastrophe or whatever. I genuine UFO piece and it had like writing on it. I kind of feel like that would be the most mundane. Absolutely. It would be like, I don't know, watch your head or watch your step or emergency only or something like that. It would be just like pick a sign that you see at like your workplace or your school. It would be like that. But us humans, we attach so much significance to it. Truth is stranger than fiction, I tells you. Anyways, alien writing. I just typed that into the Google search bar and let's see what we've got. Lots of fonts, pop culture. What is you? Okay, clicked on Roswell Ibing hieroglyphs. This is on Angel Fire. This may be interesting. Let's see where this leads us. Okay, it looks. I think somebody copied the symbols from the notes into our very classic, by the way, early 2000s web design here, fellas. Here's the picture that we had clicked on. It looks like the way it's drawn, it's like broken off from something from the crash, you know. Electron clouds. Oh, those were the days. So we're like trying to decipher them, apparently, and that's what the electron clouds are for. You get down here, it's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10. Apparently, like this is supposed to be a number system. I don't know how they would ever reach that conclusion. Let alone, why are the aliens using base 10? Why are the Krondakian clever and inventive? Credit where credit is due. But like, why are the aliens? Why are the Krondakian and they think the quantum computer, if we can ever get around to making it, will work in a base 4 sort of thing. And I have this problem with the UFO pop culture thing of Centaurians and like Zeta Reticulans and everything else. It was like, oh, we're from the Pleiades. And that one kind of confuses me because humans named those stars those things for various reasons. Like we have whole rules. There's whole naming rules for these sorts of things. Um, and then it just strikes me as odd that the aliens, instead of I don't know if it's a diplomatic thing and they did some hyper advanced math to match up the stars and everything, but it just kind of strikes me as weird that they would call themselves Centaurians or Pleiadians or whatever, um, when they probably have their own names for the sun or suns and their planet and themselves and their home galaxy or whatever. Like, if they were the first aliens to work this out, wouldn't that be confusing? And then is this to make humans feel better? Why would they want to do that? That's very human centric. And just maybe the aliens don't care about how we feel and have decided, fuck you, we're this, that, and the other thing, and we're from this, that, and the other place. Anyways, back to the I-beams. So there are 10 figures apparently. Okay, so we're not counting, thank goodness. So 1, 4, and 5. I think we're still trying to decipher this, and we're still going on electron clouds. I think this is something that we sent with Voyager. Oh, Pioneer 10. Pioneer 10. Okay. I'm kind of getting sick of looking at this. But yeah, that I-beam, like I said earlier, it's probably the most mundane thing. Maybe it says watch your head or something like that. We have in our related images more references to the I-beam. Pin on the Reagan briefing on Roswell again. UFOs et al. Actual ET writing. Actual ET writing. We're getting somewhere. Look at this. Look at this. On a UFO landing site in Brooksville, Florida on March 3rd, 65. Wait, they left behind literally all of this? Let's follow this link. It says actual ET writing. Maybe we'll find some stuff. This is a copy of extraterrestrial writing. that was found at a spaceship landing site in Brooksville, Florida on March 3rd, 1965, was received at this website in February 2013, along with a 6-page handwritten letter from 71-year-old Jerry, who felt it was time to share his eyewitness account of a remarkable story with the public. Wow, this is a real treat. Jerry wrote that in 1965, he and his parents were neighbors and friends of John F. Reeves, who happened upon a spaceship and a spaceman, Reed, alien, in brushy land near their Brooksville homes. At the time, Jeremy said he was in his 20s and Reeves appeared to be in his 60s. Jerry said that he and his parents may have been the first one Reeves told about the... Okay, wait a minute. This is not... Where's the UFO in all of this? Does Jerry himself actually encounter this object, or is this all secondhand, and I'm now reading it third hand? Is that what's going on? Jerry said that he and his parents may have been the first one Reeves told about his extraordinary experience. He even took them to the landing site where they observed the imprints of the spaceship's 4 landing legs plus the spaceman's boot prints. Okay, so like, they actually got to see this. In the photo below, Reeves is shown pointing to one of the spaceman's boot prints in the white Florida sand. Can we make this bigger? Nope, that is as big as it gets. Jerry described it as 10 to 11 inches long and dog bone shaped because it was equally bulbous on each end. The boot print also had grooves running both length. Did anyone make a cast? This sounds like something I would run to the hardware store and get plaster of Paris and hastily mix it up trying to follow the instructions and make a cast of before it eroded or was trampled or something. Just me. You know, I should probably get some plaster of Paris on hand anyways. In a follow-up phone call, Jerry told me what Reeves... 1, 2... This is being posted third or fourth hand. The rabbit hole is deep. When Reeves stumbled upon the spaceship, he dug behind some bushes and observed it from his hiding spot. He described the ship as dull metallic gray, about 40 feet in diameter and 9 feet high at its center. He said he could see 3 windows, a clear dome top, 4 landing legs, and a retractable ladder that dropped from the bottom center of the ship. The spaceman appeared from behind some other bushes. He was about 5 feet tall and wore a tight-fitting suit with a glass-like helmet, metallic boots, and mittens. Mittens, not gloves. As he walked toward Reeves, he stopped and took something from his uniform and aimed it at Reeves. It was a little box that made a flash of light. Reeves thought it might have been a camera. Okay, so if possible, it would probably be best to cut through all of this and just talk to Reeves himself. Military showed up as per usual. A walk-on. Oh, he's become a full-on contactee. He's apparently meeting with the spaceman and other space people for 6 years. They go to the moon, they go to another planet. Okay. What else is on? Just try another search. No, I did not mean OET. Let's be more specific. Aliens and alien size. A writer's guide to creating extraterrestrial life forms. Liking that one for later. UFOs and aliens among us. Extraterrestrials in fiction, communication with extraterrestrials. Huh. You know what? Let's do this. Alien writing. Contactee. Images. Let's see what we've got. Alien agendas and anal probes. Extraterrestrial contact. 50 Shades of Grey aliens. I long to die. Bunch of math. Looks alien, but technically isn't. Let's go back to our original search. Let's see. Futurama. Some of the channeled Pinterest. This should lead us interesting places. Some of the channeled alien writing. I recognize this. Walking program for weight loss. Oh, there go the cops. Let's try. Because I know a couple of famous cases have writing involved. Let's do this. The Kecksburg UFO is this acorn-shaped shenaniganery. It said that, like, at the base there was this writing. It was briefly exposed while, I guess, being carted off to a base somewhere, never to be heard of again. There is a comic. Oh no, it's not a comic, it's a panel. Unidentified flying object report touches off probe near Kecksburg. This is where it came down. This is it on a map. another when it was down. Pittsburgh UFO writing. I guess calling it writing is kind of inaccurate. I mean, maybe. Here we go. Oh, maybe not. They're making a movie on it. Let's check here. This happened in Britain. There was a big to-do with a bunch of lights. Maybe everybody was high. I've got no idea. One of the witnesses wrote down all of this binary code and apparently was supposed to contain a message for all of mankind, I guess, because it was beamed into his brain. And yeah, that's binary code. Rendlesham Forest binary code. We've got the wiki entry. Rendlesham Forest UFO, Jem Peniston's notebook. This is from Ian Ridpath's website. Above is pictured the notebook Jem Peniston claims he made on the first night of the Rendlesham Forest event has the wrong date and time. All right. Potentially one of the most explosive documents in the Rendlesham Forest case, if not all of ufology, is the notebook allegedly made by Sergeant Jim Peniston during the UFO encounter outside East Gate of RAF Woodbridge, experienced by himself, John Burroughs, and Ed Cabanzag, forgive me, in December of 1980. The notebook contains descriptions of a landed craft of unknown origin that Peniston claims to have examined for 45 minutes and even touched, along with sketches of hieroglyphic inscriptions. Oh, here we go. He says were engraved on its side. Oh, it's probably like, if it's the whole craft and like there's something on its side, maybe this is from aliens that do the same thing that humans do, which is that somewhere conspicuous, and like on top of like slapping the company logo on it, also very conspicuous, along with sketches of hieroglyphic inscriptions he says were engraved on its side. None of the other witnesses that night claimed to have seen any such craft, only light hitherto received. The results raised serious doubts about its authenticity. Wrong date and time. This is page 1. The problems begin on page 1. Peniston first showed his notebook publicly on the Sci-Fi Channel documentary UFO Invasion at Rendlesham, broadcast in December of 2003. This is the same notebook in which, in 2010 December, we were told also contained many pages of telepathically downloaded binary code. This is what I mentioned earlier. But more of that on the 30th anniversary update below. Immediately we can see a problem. The notebook contains the wrong date and time for the event. The first page shown above is headed with the date December 20th, 1980. Below is written 12:20, response notes, AC aircraft crash adjacent east gate. At the bottom of the next page is another line. It's another time, 12:51. These times should really be expressed as 0200, 0020, 0051, etc. The 24-hour clock is standard in military, aviation, and emergency services usage. And at the time of the Rendlesham incident, Peniston came under all three headings, so why he has used the civilian 12-hour clock is a puzzle. Peniston claims to have made these notes and sketches at the time of the incident. When I asked him in 2010 April, via the Rendlesham Forest Incident online forum, to explain the inconsistency in date and time with the known date and time of the incident, 3 a.m. or 0300 on December 26th, he replied that the figures in the notebook are the actual date and time of the event. So, according to him, every other source has gotten it wrong. Yay! You must be fun at parties. Unfortunately, we have independent evidence that they are not. Good try! Good try! The basic error in date and time is enough to raise serious doubts about whether the notes were made during the encounter as Peniston claims. There is a 45-second clip. Later on during the program, he reads through more of his notes, which end liftoff 2:45, no sound, no air disturbance, takeoff, unknown speed, impossible. Some additional pages from the notebook are also shown in the History Channel's documentary called Britain's Roswell, first broadcast in 2005 December, and a documentary called I Know What I Saw, aired in 2009 December. For a 2-minute clip of Peniston's description of his encounter from the latter program, there's a link. Put a pin in this. I want to go back to it. I've seen I Know What I Saw. It's okay. Nothing stands out. Unfortunately, none of the program makers seem to have subjected this vital document to independent scrutiny. I mean, if there was a real alien, shouldn't you welcome that? I don't know, maybe I'm being too judgmental. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm being a little too judgy. It would be helpful if we knew someone who had looked at the notebook in person back in 2003. As a matter of fact, we do. Colonel Charles Halt. In an email to me last November, as in November 2019, because we are incredibly thorough, Halt wrote, I handled the notebook several times, including while filming the 2003 program. No code or missing pages. That statement would seem to disqualify most of the claims Peniston has subsequently made about the contents of the notebook. When was the notebook first mentioned? What other information can we find about the origin of Peniston's supposed real-time notes and sketches made in Rendlesham Forest? The first mention of them that I can find is in an interview with Peniston by Sally Rail for Omni Magazine. The date of the interview is not given, but the website in which it appears is copyrighted 1996. Peniston made no mention of any notes or sketches in the extensive interviews he gave for a British TV program called Strange But True in 1994. In the Omni interview, Peniston says that the object was sitting in a clearing when he approached it. I had my notebook and camera out while I was there, so I began taking notes. This is what I wrote. Triangular in shape, the top portion is producing mainly white light, which encompasses most of the upper section of the craft. A small amount of white light peers out the bottom. At left side center is a bluish light, and on the other side, red. So, like landing lights? Like, don't crash into me lights? The lights seem to be molded as part of the exterior of the structure, smooth, slowly fading into the rest of the outside structure, gradually molding into the fabric of the craft. You know, we actually got a handle of how to do that pretty much with some varieties of Christmas lights. However, now that we have had a chance to see the notebooks for ourselves on 3 separate TV documentaries, there is no sign of this fluently written passage. Rather, the notes visible on pages shown to the camera are brief and disjointed. Was Peniston simply idealizing his description for Sally Rail, or is there another explanation? Perhaps the first person to see Peniston's notebook after the alleged UFO encounter was a security guard at Bentwaters, Richard Bertolino. Bertolino recalls sitting next to Peniston on the pickup bus after they both came off duty that morning within hours of the event. In an interview with the Earth Files podcast in 2009 December, Bertolino recounted that Peniston pulls out the notebook and he diagrams what he saw out there. It was kind of diamond shaped with tripod legs. From this, it sounds as though Peniston sketched the object for Bertolino as they sat together. Bertolino does not mention seeing any existing notes or sketches of the craft in the notebook. And where is the diagram made for Bertolino in the notebook Peniston now displays for the cameras? Good question. Other inconsistencies. There are other troubling inconsistencies. In Peniston's updated witness statement, you know what, let's skip this. I'm getting off topic. 30th anniversary update. Peniston added a new twist to this part of the story. He claimed that a day after the initial encounter with the landed craft, he wrote down in his notebook many pages of binary digits that he had received telepathically. At the same time, he changed his explanation for the date and time shown in the notebook. He now says it was when he wrote down the binary, not when he encountered the craft. Does this man sleep? Unfortunately, as we can see for ourselves, the date and time at the start of the description of the craft, not at the start of the section with the binary codes. Hence, Peniston's revised explanation for the wrong date and time is contradicted by the notebook itself. Okay. Maybe it is on the Wikipedia for this one. Primary and secondary sources. Recording made by Lieutenant Colonel Charles Hall during his investigation. What's here? Oh, here we go. We get more pictures of these sketches. These glyphs These are the glyphs that were on the craft itself. I think it may have been some kind of designation. There was a plaque involved. This is much better to look at. It's not like a disaster, a gray on gray disaster. According to Peniston, these felt like sandpaper to touch. Interesting. Maybe that's culturally significant. He received a series of... Oh, there are scans of the binary code. We're going to check that out. Official Rendlesham binary code decipher page. The decoded binary code. Oh, look at this. Look at this actor's rendering of Peniston touching things that he probably should not be touching. Before we get into this, here are original pages of handwritten binary from Jem Peniston's notebook. Whew. Interesting. Interesting. Maybe that's a paragraph break. I'm not sure. 28 December 1980. More code. And now back to the deciphering. The decoding. For additional information regarding the Rendlesham binary code, click link to professional binary code expert Joe Luciano's webpage. Pages 1 through 16, composite message using my preferred interpretation with appropriate spaces and decimal points. Is it your preferred because it makes the most sense? Or is it your preferred because you believe in aliens? This is a very key distinction. He says it says Exploration of Humanity 666 8100. This is the coordinates for 8. Is that an E or an H? I still can't tell. Brazil, place in Brazil. Continuous for planetary advance, we think. 4th coordinate continue something before. Belize, Sedona, Arizona. Great Pyramid in Giza, Egypt. Nazca Lines, China. Temple of Apollo in Naxos, Greece. Eyes of Your Eyes, origin in Brazil, origin year 8100. This is where, like, by the way, this is where the time travel thing comes from. There's a whole statement, but that's not what I want to know right now. Let's look at something else. Alien hieroglyphs. Images. Let's see. We've got lots of Egyptian hieroglyphs. Lots of screenshots from the History Channel. Um, Something that channelers especially do is the automatic writing thing. You go into a trance, you get possessed by a spirit, that spirit uses your body to write things. Sometimes it isn't very intelligible. Alien writing and music, page 1 from above, top secret. Let's see what they have for us. Background music. Pink Floyd. More channeled writing, I suspect. A recent post from Dr. Roger Lear, the implant removal specialist, includes images of alien writing. Interesting. UFO TV. Interesting. Uh, I was going to put a pin in something. This will take just a second. Because I wanted to know what he said, and I know what I saw. What is... Oh, this is QuickTime? Screw that. QuickTime and I are no longer speaking. Okay. The 1980s are ancient, everybody. Here we go. Let's do this again anyways. A 2-minute clip is going to take a little bit. In the meantime, uh, Roswell, I presume from the I-beam. I think this, So this is Roswell. This must be from Dr. Lear. Okay, our clip is ready. Let us. It occurs to me you may only hear the audio if we get going here.
Just as Burroughs and I entered the tree line, the shape of the craft was defined. The closer we got, the more the white light dissipated. Simulation. But what appeared was a triangular craft. When we approached it, it was, I say it measured probably about 9 feet long, maybe
Is there only one
6
alien?
feet high.
Are there very tiny
maybe 6.5 feet. The lighting emanated from the fabric of the craft, and it would actually move around. I mean,
this craft is made of fabric, everybody.
Where maybe a little blue lighting was going into it, or maybe a little red. And then there must have been some type of lighting underneath of it, because the silhouette of the aircraft
It's got some kind of spotlight.
I went around and started doing a 360 walk around the area, taking recording my observations. I was looking underneath the craft like that. I had taken quite detailed notes on that type of aircraft.
Quite detailed notes of 10 words max.
No apparent landing gear. No sound, but appears to be pulsating somehow. I would go ahead and feel the craft, which was warm. There was static electricity in the air.
Why are you touching the alien spaceship? No one is answering this question.
Around to the one side of the craft, there was etching on the facing me just above the center part of the craft itself. Of course, this is done off freehand as I was walking around the craft.
These are from the pictures I showed you.
Across, and then underneath that line of symbols was this, which is triangular. And some type of circle here, some type of circle here, and a larger circle here. And of course, all this was filled in with the etching part of it. And then it started moving back in between the trees with absolutely no sound, no air disturbance at all.
No air disturbance.
Unknown speed.
This is a tangible craft.
Impossible.
No air disturbance. Anyways, that was that. We've got some Roswell alien handwriting from a dude named Nathan. This is a hunk of metal or rock. It says unknown writing system uncovered on ancient Olmec tablet. Maybe this is Olmec. Just tossing that one out there. More of Marcel Jr.'s writings. Somebody taken the thing that we beamed into space and made it a crop circle and was generally weird, messed with it like it was an answer or something. Enochian, because the aliens are also watchers. A UI language taught to John Weilgart, he claimed, by spacemen. Let's see. Let's start here. This really doesn't come up as often as one would expect. Let's close a tab or two. Alien symbols retrieved from crash UFO. Of this. Conspiracyplot.net. I don't want the video, I just want to see the symbols. Horrifying sightings of ancient warriors known as the Night Marchers. Isn't that like the Wild Hunt with a new coat of paint? Text in language of UFO aliens. Fine Art America. A UFO related art series. It's okay. They've got the one from Arrival. We've got the WoW signal, which I think turned out to be somebody's microwave next door. Awkward. Inside UFOs, an Amazon book. "13 Reasons to Look. Why should we believe that aliens are real?" Maybe I will be convinced. I mean, aliens are probably out there. I don't know if they're actually visiting, but how seriously should you take the recent reports of UFOs? Ask the Pentagon or read this primer for the SETI Curious by David Wallace Wells, James D. Walsh, and Neil Patel, Clint Rainey, Katie Heaney, Eric Benson, and Tim Urban. In the good old days, the arrival of UFOs on the front page of America's paper right through the fabric of reality. The closest that secular space race America could have gotten to a second coming. 2 decades ago, or 3, or 6, we would have also felt we knew the script in advance thanks to the endless variations pop culture has played for us already. Civilizational conflicts to mirror the real-world ones Americans had been imagining in terror since the beginning of the Cold War. But when, in December, the New York Times published an undisputed account of what might once have been sounded like a crackpot conspiracy theory, that the Pentagon had spent 5 years investigating unexplained aerial phenomena. I mean, they do this a lot, and they've been doing this since the end of World War II because foreign powers exist, and they're in it for themselves. And they want that spicy, spicy advanced aerospace tech. The response among the paper's mostly liberal readers, exhausted and beaten down by recent events, in quotes, was markedly different from the one in the movies. The news that aliens might actually be visiting us regularly and recently didn't provoke terror about a coming space opera conflict, but about something more like the evangelical dream of the rapture, the same liberals might have mocked as kooky right-wing escapism in the George Bush years. The truth is out there. Former Senator Harry Reid tweeted, with a link to the story. Thank God came the response through the Twitter vent. Could extraterrestrials help us save the Earth? Went one typical reaction. Suddenly, encounters was just one beat in a recent search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, drum roll, is for the weirdness of an alien megastructure. An army of Silicon Valley billionaires are racing to make the first contact, and our new superpowered telescopes are discovering more conceivably habitable planets every year. Then, in March, a third video emerged, featuring a Navy encounter off the East Coast in 2015, with a group that released it hinting at an additional trove. What does the Pentagon care? Wondered a Washington Post op-ed. Surely the first time the newspaper of Katharine Graham was raising a stink about aliens. The next week, President Trump seemed to have announced he was creating an entirely new branch of the military. We'll call it the Space Force. You could be forgiven for thinking you'd woken up in a science fiction novel. Damn, beat me to it. Searching the universe for extraterrestrial life, a timeline. Let's play this one from the beginning. We have our...
The advent of radio technology helped inspire early interest in extraterrestrial life. Decades later, NASA would formalize the curiosity with the launch of the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute, or SETI. Here's a look back at how, throughout history, humans have looked for life in the final frontier. In 1899, famed inventor and physicist Nikola Tesla noticed rhythmic sounds on his lab's radio receiver and became convinced they were radio communications from Martians. 21 years later, radio inventor and Italian physicist Guglielmo Marconi told a journalist he believed his radios had been picking up extraterrestrial signals for years. 1924 was a landmark year for extraterrestrial research. David Todd, chairman of the astronomy department at Amherst College, succeeded in convincing the U.S. Army and Navy to monitor incoming transmissions for potential alien signals while Mars passed historically close to Earth. Unfortunately, the result was mostly static. The space age began in earnest in 1957 with the launch of the Russian satellite Sputnik. 2 years later, Philip Morrison and Giuseppe Coccioni published Searching for Interstellar Communications in the journal Nature. The article inspired Frank Drake to begin using his radio telescope to search 2 nearby stars for extraterrestrial life, the first real SETI search. A year later, he developed the Drake equation, which combined variables, stars, number of planets, environmental composition, to estimate the odds of finding intelligent life in the universe. That same year, future Nobel Prize winner Charles Townes and his colleague Robert Schwartz proposed using lasers to find extraterrestrial signals. In 1966, Carl Sagan and Joseph Shklovsky wrote Intelligent Life in the Universe, which sparked even more curiosity about the possibility of extraterrestrial life. The same year Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon, then Georgia Governor Jimmy Carter claimed to have seen a flying saucer. He still became president. In 1977, the Ohio State Radio Observatory first detected what later became known as the WOW signal from the constellation Sagittarius, named for a scientist's excited note left on the readout of the signal. Later that year, the United States launched the Voyager 1 and 2 satellites, loaded with gold-plated records containing images and sounds of human life intended for an extraterrestrial audience. Ronald Reagan wondered aloud about extraterrestrial life during his 1987 speech to the United States General Assembly.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
The 1990s marked the end of NASA's SETI program, when Congress slashed its budget in 1993. But UC Berkeley developed SETI at home in 1999, a screensaver that enabled an idle home computer to analyze data collected by radio telescopes, which greatly increased astronomers' data processing abilities. 10 years after SETI hit home computers, the Allen Telescope Array began operating, thanks to funding from Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen to construct his namesake telescopes. In 2012, Voyager 1 made history when it passed beyond the reach of solar wind from our solar system and into interstellar space. 3 years later, Louisiana State University astronomer Tabitha Boyajian noticed an object passing in front of a star 1,500 light-years away, in a manner she said would be expected from a planet or alien megastructure.
Well, there you have it. We're in a situation that could unfold to be a natural phenomenon we don't understand, or an alien technology we don't understand. Personally, as a scientist, my money's on the natural explanation. But don't get me wrong, I do think it would be awesome to find aliens.
That same year, the first observation of gravitational waves in a spectacular collision of two black holes offered a new source of data to measure in searching for and potentially communicating with extraterrestrial life.
Breakthrough Listen takes the search for intelligent life in the universe to a completely new level.
2016 saw the launch of Breakthrough Listen, a $100 million 10-year program dedicated to researching extraterrestrial life. While past research yielded a few dozen hours of telescope data per year, the new program will make thousands of hours of data available on a variety of instruments, a revolutionary development in SETI research. Signals from stars are often faint and far between, but that hasn't dimmed our interest in finding out if there are other beings out there in the cosmos, or for that matter, signs of life at all. But what once seemed like an uphill battle, years of work for glimpses at the possibility of extraterrestrial life, now benefits from stronger science and sharper technology. Even without concrete proof that we'll find what we're looking for, the search for extraterrestrial life persists. And if we keep listening, who knows what we might hear.
Alien dreams have always been powered by the desire for human importance in a vast, forgetful cosmos. We want to be seen, so we know we exist. What's unusual about the alien fantasy is that, unlike religion, nationalism, or conspiracy theory, it doesn't place humans at the center of a grand story. In fact, it displaces them. Humans become, briefly, major players in a drama of almost inconceivable scale, the lasting lesson of which is, unfortunately, we're total nobodies! That's the lesson, at least, of a visit from aliens, who got here long before we were able to get there, wherever there is. If humans are the ones making first contact, we're the advanced ones, and the aliens are probably more like productive pond scum, which may be one reason we fantasize about those kind of encounters a lot less than visits to Earth. Of course, when the aliens are the explorers, we are the pond scum. It'd be like that. It generally really be like that. But a lot of people in the modern world will take that bargain, which should not surprise us given how dizzying, secular, and alienating that world objectively is. Most conspiracy theory is fueled by a desire to see the universe as ultimately intelligible. The bargain being that things can make sense, but only if you believe in pervasive totalitarian malice. Alien conspiracy theory keeps malice, cover-ups at Roswell, the Men in Black. But rather than benzo comforts like order and intelligibility, it offers the psychedelic drama of total unintelligibility, awe, wonder, and knee-wobblingly deep where are the damn reasons? One, been for a very long time, because what if it's fucking Russian? What if it's Chinese? You want to know about that, and you want to know how they got there. Two, Harry Reid says we're not taking them seriously enough. Also meaningless. Three, scientists are suddenly much more bullish about the possibility of life out there. We had not discovered. Even people who are not terribly interested in science know that we found that planets are as common as fire hydrants or Starbucks in Washington, D.C. I mean, there's a buttload of planets, absolutely. I think our view of alien life is slightly too narrow. They're especially bullish about these planets, which are quite habitable, apparently, for liquid water and therefore all water-based life. Proxima b, TRAPPIST-1, LHS 1140b, Ross 128b, Mars. Odd choice, but all right. Ocean Worlds, GJ 1214b. Why do you have to do this to me? 5, and there is documentation. In 2012, the photographer Stephen Hirsch asked UFO convention attendees who claimed to have had a personal contact with extraterrestrials to draw and describe their experiences. A sampling is below. This person got abducted. Camille, Bruce. Moving on. 6, that asteroid looks an awful lot like a rocket ship. Oumuamua is actually from somewhere in interstellar space. It isn't quite a comet. We don't know what it is. It's a hunk of rock. Or is it? Just saying. These masters of the universe are obsessed. They are also all men. With space besotted, which space besotted billionaire will be the first to make? Okay. Considering the only thing that guarantees you a shitload of money is getting born to the right parents, I have my doubts on the credibility of the following people: Robert Bigelow, Elon Musk, Paul Allen, Yuri Milner, Jeff Bezos, especially, Franklin Antonio. Number 8, as are some prominent military and government folks. Nick Pope, not quite. I thought he was a desk junior. Paul Hellyer, Philip Corso, Barry Goldwater, Roscoe Hellencotter, Denis Kucinich, I hate you, John fucking Podesta? You're starting to lose me, Intelligencer. Pavel and Marina Popovich. 9, and this genius thinks he can talk to them. Stephen Wolfram, a computer scientist philosopher and the author of a universal programming language that informed the alien communication in the movie Arrival, good movie by the way, wrote an exceedingly long blog post about how best to communicate with aliens. I did not get anything out of this. 10. There have been enough well-known encounters to fill encyclopedias. As a matter of fact, I actually have one of those. It's called the UFO book. I enjoy it as a reference. Here's just a sampling of the classics: Betty and Barney Hill's Abduction, Mercy, Antonio Villas Boas's Seduction, The Wow Signal, sighting of Phoenix Lights, the Warminster thing. Oh, is this like that thing in Pennsylvania or whatever? Travis Walton abduction, Battle of Los Angeles. 11, and continuing right up to the present day. I feel like all these reasons are very flimsy. Except for like all the planets out there that could have life on them. And statistically speaking, some of them at least do. But that's a good reason. That's a good reason. But the rest of these feel very weak. Is that a frog? I've got so many questions. Okay, that is not... I'm calling cloud formation on that one. 12. Thank God we're almost done. We even have some pretty developed theories about why you haven't heard from ET yet. Why? The aliens are all dead, they're all sleeping, they're hiding, still evolving. Everything is still evolving! Cries in biology. Humans haven't spent enough time looking. The aliens are already here. 13, and in the meantime, aliens can... That is not a goddamn reason! That is not a reason! Okay. Those were some piss poor reasons. Maybe we can find some more, like, authentic alien writing. Ancient aliens in the Bible. I don't care. Okay. Maybe there's something in the alien symbols collection on Pinterest. $39 pins. Okay, let's see what we have. Got a crop circle, an alphabet, another crop circle. This grid comes up a lot. Lots of crop circles, Gallifreyan. This is not what I was looking for. Okay, I may have to call it then, because we are not finding very many examples of alien writing. We're just, yep,